chansi mu eno so benya bi wo ho eye magi sardine ahoro bayere bode potato brodo enyadoa emu gari wele prekese beans ebro toast milo kokonte momo ne krampo no upebia ubenya bi wo Charlotte we
edina wo boy na mahu baby pro we na madam fu bi di ho adanse omoton African way nyina
anne sawadam fu ni di ho adanse e kire ode anaye do kretrodo omoton African way GT pentoma ade apempa me shirt kama ade apam manta ade eye dress skirt kawa sandal shoes slippers any coat omutimi she call office any baby bia nyina Charlotte way tropical market etonton bi wo hono ahwene e se ode beto sisi ana ode beto sa na se ode beto 9 po ni Charlotte way etonton bi wo hono hwehwe ye kire kwan e wo 396 West Pike Street number C, Lawrenceville, Georgia, 30046. Fryer, what telephone number way so 678-682-3577. Charlotte Way Tropical Market, African, Caribbean, and Latino market.
Your one-stop tropical shop.
Welcome on board. This is Daddy K for Stars Radio TV, Atlanta, Georgia, USA, with information to keep you safe and productive in every society belong. There's another beautiful day. I will say, be informed, make a profit, eat an option, and support this force that is giving it back to our community. You know that anytime we come here, we talk about our beautiful and our great country, Ghana, and today it's not different. All you have to do is to call your friend, your brother, your neighbor, and say it's about time for us to have this great conversation. And it's not anything too different, but for all of us, we know one thing and one thing only about a great country, Ghana. So Daddy K, I'll be right back with you today. We're going to have some great talks about what is happening in our country. We just have an election. We have elected our president, and some few things are glitching, and we need to talk about it. Yakwaji and Kratono Abanti, Ebusafo, Yasenshim Bium, Minima Beja Ye Mamiama, and there, Yansaka Francis is so, and the chair, as for a car, Yebejunji Eba, and Nawatri Muso, and someone, Eddie him, Ewagana, a funny, Je, and Yina Kadia, home, and some, and Afisu LGBTQ, and home, and some. So we shall the energy minister designate what the ensemble up to a job. John Jinapo, I say he has stressed the importance of engaging the private sector as the only viable solution to improving the operations of the electricity company of Ghana, ECG. And you know they want to privatize the ECG. Now Bibiano, especially Omangana, Bibia, a fa Omanankasa, Hono, say, ye Yempuy, enfant, ancient ye, until a wako here say, Wamo de Beshe Ancrancra, and some nature say, Wamama Jumedianum, Ako, Ninemo Anka, and I say, Ebanisa, na dear pa, and ye per se, Ancrancrano, Eshe, and I say, so obi ebabeji ejumedi ya ebono beba from ebekosoro ejumane bekoso yi light of bia emba anase bede entino yenkonkotie eye jinapona ngasa
the private sector participation. What we intend to do is to form a 7-member committee chaired by technical experts, legal experts, financial experts, and some industry players, and even somebody from the consumer side. What we want them to do is to get us a framework, looking at best practices. Would the concession approach work or a full privatization work? We will stay off as politicians, let them get the framework in a more transparent, open, frank manner. Then when we get the buy-in of Ghanaians, then we can set the standards using an RFQ, an RFP, and then a competitive tender process. Let me make this clear. We are not going to do sole sourcing when it comes to the ECG private sector participation. Competitive tender process with some element of private sector participation using local content, and then we set the KPIs so we make progress. And so we are clear in our minds what we intend to do. The main problem with ECG is not just the collection, but even how they spend or administer what they collect. They collect on average about 1.3 billion cedis every month. Only 850 million or 900 million goes into the cash waterfall mechanism. So what it means is that almost 400 million does not find its way into the cash waterfall mechanism because they've signed all kinds of contracts. Yesterday at the meeting, it came to light that they have 2,500 containers sitting at the ports. Contracts worth 9 billion has been signed. And because the containers are sitting at the ports, demurrage alone is 1.2 billion. So beyond the collection, we also have to drill down on efficiency and ensure that they stick to the cash waterfall mechanism. Currently, we have a deficit of about 40 to 60 mm scarf of gas. If you take the gas from ENI, gas from Jubilee 10, and then gas from N-gas, and you put all together, you still have a deficit. And so you've had to be depending on some level of light crude oil, some level of heavy fuel oil, and some level of distillate fuel oil. Our immediate objective will be to bridge that gap. We've met Jubilee partners, we've spoken to the partners and the operators, Talo. We've also spoken to Ghana Gas. They are currently doing 100 mm scarf. We are confident that if they do some reconditioning, they can increase it to about 35 more. And that will give us a lot of buffer.
Abujina po ana kokoti neneno. I'll say the government says they are in talking terms with some private companies to handle the energy. Would that be the best? And no, a share. Is it a good deal? Inteno menko na menko ma buja for na akwaba. France ma akwaba.
Yo me just done the
Bibia boko die.
Nyankopon ni na di ni ye enho ye pa ahode wo.
Good. Me that say Yensaka Francis me say Misabeka Mamiama.
Yes.
Eti saying I say we need form kakra oba baako away intem yeah we need form kakra I wanna do create enya grokra me because kra Mrs. Enya fidi agro Ghana for ya mu e mo what yeah prepare enya grokra minko eye wo fire
Daddy K.
I saying
Nyame adimo amehoye na nso.
So yegu so akwaba so wusini kikitu bi na okoye waba so odifo wo fire 001 ana yensaka na afi me hwe se ejia esafaka saba papa
yeah papa
saying
kafese
saying
kafese
jo me that say ejia Esafo Oka and Yetinaka. But Fako will be on 4 stars of Radio TV Dadke and me di me fancy chame ewaha. Mo jumedi biedia, Momo Diana, monto ensa emfamfren ye na ye memehwema ende bibia ye abefo emfidie yi ntino wotin safren na say yes so no yato apete na bibia aye kama so enti yakoye ni mu anese se na mekan na wola kia na wa share you all the social media handles no wola kia na wa share na say afoforo so ehu ate nya yakoso ewo omanga no mo we dia eye kroma ha ya enti yenyina yensom yembom mani enyini sa pepepe minko eje Francis
yes sir
asamwa abai wo hu ni sen ECG CC ano ye ba privatization ayedire awono eba uji hu bebi anje ye be privatize no na echese dwumana koso na according to aban we kran eka twitwi dibia eda hono eni so say yanhwe na yamfa mankrakra ya dumso betumi aba wo se ni San France
under the K medawase na machia my bujafo come home say Ghana samdi here nyina inti se bibiba na say enso yetumi ekre yadwen the ohon say electricity company of Ghana no in fact over the years aban bia obaba no born homodin say obetumi aye mana ye na various efforts are aban ede abano. Some of them has been good, others have not been very good. Now you see, the problem of electricity company of Ghana is the problem of the whole of Ghana. Problem ukomuno the same thing ena Ghana as a country yekum. Unum say uko Ghana nkofo ankro juma. Omo find it very serious. People, individual, private businesses, or and if you steal 10 Ghana cedis from them, it's like you are trying to kill their company. Money break. But the same person, so yeah, abaya juma or kwa abaya juma mua, he doesn't see the need to be able to sa fenchim na or the year the person that ajuma no on farm kwa abaya juma. That's the problem of electricity company of Ghana. Now, John Abuja pose opeso privatize. In my personal opinion, no, say ye pese ye dealing with Ghana Electricity Company of Ghana on issue of collecting money. The best thing to do is to do government-private partnership, because you see. Electricity here adebia a fundamental to the growth of Ghana. Inti ubot media ma private person. Now remember, as a private business, the overriding interest a profit. Into whether or not you need the essential electricity and find a home. Inti personally, my view is this. That government should bring a private person to come and help. But the private person should not own ECG 100%. Abanesa, the overriding profit interest will go against the overriding interest of the nation. Because you see, there are some institutions or municipal power or may perform very important activities for the nation Ghana. And it's for no. So what the question private sector nsa now so also omuni light omodeka into bochom light mu is going to be catastrophic. One of those institutions are our security, our healthcare, and our schools. Into all these places of course they may be owing, but private person on and find was wo 37 into then what the car which make your light mu inti I agree say I say nyina trust na doing the best way forward. Now the other say ECG Ghana for na yejuma o. Into the problem you are going through, like I said earlier, is the problem of Ghana. Why? Say there are some people who Ajuma officer enye na Ajuma no until any year. Into for instance, at Nako district or the district manager of EC, so obe yinani na waye Ajuma no na Ajuma na koye no, you will never do that. People are doing illegal connection. Wabunani afaso. Nkofo de deka wabunani akfaso. So at the end of the day, there's accumulation of debts. But you see, ECG for no omo generate power. Omo de omo ton keke. The only distribution and sales. They are only distribution and sales. Now, Greco and the transmitted power. Omo no omo generate. They only transmit. So they buy the power from VRA, they buy the power from we River Authority, they buy the power from IPPs, independent power producers. So no more they are transmitted through Greco. All the power distribution companies. Until Okonota, the Northern Electricity Distribution Company. Almost delivered Northeast, Northern Region, Savannah, Upper West, 5 Northern Region companies. And ECG, award down has a agent of the Southern Sector, distributing and selling power. But because of inefficiencies, internet will be doing. And also, unim say, government is one of the greatest debtors of ECG. The government of Ghana. Or the ECG car, in fact, na individual idea ahia na yusu. So government and private companies and omode ka into say ECG aboka sombono yefama government, yefama private companies, and yefama nkofo mo ye illegal connections. And you omo and omo boy ECG form. Into for all you know, no, sir, 7-member committee na John Abu Jina Apostle Kwakotino. Omosha same free Jubilee House and as a first staff house and so on. Omosha same free ho. So all those solvented companies are omode de akabebre a omuntua nkoma UCG no aka ho bi na UCG eboka. Until let's start from there. Make sure that all government offices have efficient power systems. Okay. In fact, me say edu babi na Dr. Babma Eka say, see, you did solar Eka mix no, because the initial cost of solar is very expensive, but over the years it pays for itself until it becomes so cheap to install solar panels and solar electronic devices. But as time goes on, the cost is very less compared to hydro and then thermal. I agree with Jinapo in one word or the other, but yensha same fee Jubilee House, yensha same fee government companies, yensha same fee nkofo omoje power ni fee ECG for na omuntua no ayomo ka ho bi na ECG adu be edu nji mata me da say
Joe, me that say Francis and Wadina Jintre Ejabano just said the government sector no cry. Okay, but anyway, me call Mamiama so Mamiama. Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Mamiama yenti we ECG one privatizing and I say yenjani sir because a car a dahon yamshin year your call doom some biomo. What do you think? What's your mind?
Yo, that is it. Me that say. It's ya nyina ni etiefo nyina. Na me suggestion kakra ni say yes grant contract no Emma private people. I'm so sorry. I mean here. And your mom will subcontract now. They will pay to the government. And I have to say America higher way. Then your private companies. Like you choose whether open way and now open way and now open way. And when she has a car, because he has to pay back to the government. What the channel. I think say another one because that is case over first now say I think 900 pen about government for now 400 yeah. Ghana for Obu government. Yeah, brother Francis can be say the same person or the private woman or person be the capre no. Or so or tia buying dia obedi and father who for this government see into the government coffers now. Not only they are some Sipani Nanko, if we give it as a subcontract to contractors now, there's some or no, and as an airport here in India, on its airport, start division way, this company there. Once we are master company now, company may chat way, and farmers airport, put in a cow, Sana, when it was into no, but who's over to them, or you don't want to be under. What if I say? One person or company no ever call a day backwards without doing the job in Jubatia. Oh, one person or better they're doing the light. Nobody. It me feel say if they give it to private companies now, who would subcontract around the neighborhoods? Illegal connections in the union no. As we try to Abanika, one thing I may want to say, Ghana, you're respecting government. You're respecting a Japadiano. It is where you're idea. I would not say what was you. And to say, who do something boom, Nedi, Nako Traffic, Nafakoto was Nafakoto be it, not baby. No, 18 me full set of contract, no. Okay, the government should be what it is. But then subcontracted to individuals that they are ready to work. Spekakra na obenyana nusa blekuma na ya odia. Ehwo ya odia. Ucheskuna it goes into your company, you know. Then you go and pay to the government. Say, okay, Mr. Setting ye. So what this subcontract no so when to me ya. Na osi adie for so near the amo before. Oh, I think that would be better because America and when a government will be so many things are up the sleeves of the government. Shaha Hospital, a individual, say Gwinnett Hospital, subcontract the brave where the moja about where the court, where the land riba, where the way court, where Obia one is session, but at the end of the day, no, it's for Gwinnett Hospital. Where the maternal. So you subcontract the main supply copy about this hospital. Okay. Who wants supply cover? One supply now. Yeah, the be for 1 year and now 1 month. No one tell me to rent to paper home and no care. They take it from you. But say, oh dear, say we don't way. Me may supply all the 13 floors now. What come at the end of the day, no Gwinnett you pay a Gwinnett hospital pays you. Oh, it's I affect the hospital, no, and I affect also at the subcontract, no. And I think that would be better.
Okay. Mommy, I say, yeah, privatization will be better. Subcontract, we have to give subcontract to other people. Not just Moshe, so na eka bebrebeno, intino, yena yakoye ni manisa. Into ube to me, Eddie will come intino, Eddie Abana Yakaima or Fufrosati be say, Sisiano, ECG is having a 7-member committee to plan about Saudi win. Okay, me go fire, what fire?
Okay.
What fire yenti away? What do you think? Privatization is about how is the price going to be? Do you think it's okay? Not to me recoup all those debt, in order to keep the light on, because I know that Edin Jumani BB article. Yenti also wafa.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, etia di ka me chia ma tie fo nyina. I me chia tie fo nyina na me chia me co-panel. Na na di ke me chia.
Me juso pa.
Last week man me and join anymore. I also person me back so. I couldn't make it.
That's fine.
So give me one. Yeah, my baby. That with the electricity assembly work yeah, can want them. I bibia me maybe me down me start doing one mentia here. It will be I said maybe some questions and I will meet some people and ask some few questions about it. we yaba no but abugina ko na asem no oka no ono onim say the privatize here and ebe boaye so ono osa no onu no the privatize here ebe boaye because we don't pay the private people be so more omo betimi aye den aboa amana koyie na onu no na senior na Francis so kan yeah in one way or the other no me omo ya adin but the only a year me person me so me can say that the case you need electricity no something very crucial or something that we need something we can't do without it that the case throughout the country we need it whether by the private by the government sector or any other area you need electricity. It doesn't mean say that we can't get trusted people for the government sector. And you say, oh, these people they've been able to manage it well for us. There is always a problem. And now there is one thing for me here now, Francis. This electricity alone, you will middlemen for those people to dedicate, they don't produce the energy. They buy like Grico. Grico is on its own. Grico doesn't produce any power. IPP now we cannot say they don't produce anything. It's like almost a toppy baby and almost the above supply any other. So why government can have correct bodies almost intermediaries like people who are becoming middlemen between electricity who count here so many. I didn't see a very important here in our life. Atuabu gas near this producing government are producing. So we can have people that can produce or a government sector now, you better set up a bit more producing like the job of Grico, the job of IPP, individual independent private company. We can't have government sector be so efficient to manage that thing for us. But it must go through private hands for them to eat, also get money to eat before it comes to that the girl and I make only me again. I didn't win here now. I those people, because they don't produce anything. They go and get it and bring it and supply. So where is the government? This thing, can government set up a very vibrant thing that will be coordinated? There will be electricity all the time from the initial to wherever to the electricity people. I see I said that side, but I don't. What Ajinafo is saying to is right. Like this guy, this thing have said, private, the Mahama, say, yeah, they will make sure that people, the private, handle this year or attach a more of importance to it. So why is it that government sector cannot attach importance to their work? And what I mean here, and this is the more private person answer. It doesn't make sense. And this is the point, an essential tool that we all need. Whether the private sector or the government sector, individuals, we need it. Without electricity, you can't do anything. Jobs will not work. Businesses will be run down. So at least, though we know we are not. That is what it's telling us. We can never be truthful. If it's an aspect that is coming from the electricity, we can never be truthful. We can never get people that will own up and do the job diligently for the country, for the nation, and for their own people. Unless you demand private people, the government or demand a year on found and now like Francis illegal connection be all cry. Yeah, illegal connection. Yeah, bet yes, you come on no boss. No a giant illegal connection. Now, so they have a money be 200 Ghana, that be 2,000 Ghana, 2,000 Ghana. Oh, continue doing your illegal connection. So you can't just be truthful and make sure that things are done right for your own people and for your own nation, serving your country. This is a problem, new. And that you can make Abudina Pastor now, I think I side with him because you need trusted people. That is what he has seen, and that is what is going on. That will manage the thing efficiently for us unless we own it to private. Private people are also going to eat from it. In the correct and people that will be sincere. You think saying Kata is Canada for some private individual would it be in the government sector where the electricity will be pumping and flows channel to other to produce other things?
All right.
It's a bit mastermind say
it's a good deal.
But try say because electricity is one of the main of our country.
Okay.
Yeah. And the moment it's easy, nothing goes on in the country. And you see that we are providing a near my making sure that electricity is being done and also branding.
Okay.
Gas, assembly plants, and maybe and name them. Oh my God, Mahama, the now it is the second coming of your Mahama. He has done all those things. It's the entire break for electricity.
All right, Joe. May I say what fire so now or then I drink Chaban to see an aka Ejia Safoka Ningonkuti or no so Nidia Walker Afaho Eje electricity once more a picture musisia a cat kesepa would say it is a 1.3 billion cities Bosome and you know is it a privatization going to help to restore and I said to recoup some of this money a lupu around and we don't know. Argentina private idea be Jumana government idea and you Papa Savaka into me too, Kapa. Yeah.
Of I more Kaba. Now, Ukaba, post Diana.
And you was Ukasa Wuko, Canada, Sanja, Akabadis was Oko.
Okay, Cobra, minister, minister designate. So, and I confirm.
Yeah, designate.
Okay. I give him 2 thumbs up for that initial decision now. Opeso Oyeno. But me were a whole lot of questions for him. One was what 5-member committee, say 5-member, whatever number of committees and nipa umuwe form sadiano. They have to be neutralized people. You best sell it to him from different places without that man's ninsanim, because also be decentralize or be privatize electricity no. Or no go funny nipa. No more be kululu. And after so when you cry no, ade na ye wo mu ade and he said also yeah, we have to know the detailed account of it. That is my initial my money 2 thumbs up. It's a good initiative. But what I'm scared of is the system of governance that we have in Ghana. Everything comes from Accra. And that colloquial mentality of governance, we have to change it immediately. So it means that privatization will be very effective. Why am I saying this? Let me use where I live. I'm in the United States of America. Baby Amitian is under Georgia power. Georgia governor hasn't got anything to do with Georgia power when they come and cut my light off. But Ghana, everything from the north, south, east, and west goes to Accra, which colloquial mentality. And this we have to go and revisit, and I've been saying it since the previous governing body. No, we have to decentralize policies in Ghana. And yes, I don't be because some minister designate obey sadi who no akoye kululu not in nkrofo abesho but say decentralized policies now ko Ashanti region you were say you privatizer now ya ma obi say hey you Ashanti region wa person ubetimi a take care of power systems in Ashanti region you the contract na ma now obi wo Ashanti region Kumasi light supply be Ashanti region no under somebody government ni ensawum because sisi obi jina wo kan o hwana se koduru bia na enko ne side out obi tima sa aye bibi na aye basa enti mimum pa de ye co privatization are fine, but we have to get a concept that concept government in sanim a private entity and it is me metia near kase okay ye bi sa de na to kumase fo betman nyomo power supply and cranfo betman nyomo de uko Cape Coast uko Central region uko Eastern region uko bebia ye decentralized electricity use and the entimi mase government and a minister the throne woman instruction say yenye we can ye dum ha is a colloquial mentality, a green fee, and I share so abysine, but to be no can crash and penny for no. When we are no more calabule, chrono. Would your papa pay our case what the abbey, what the adjunct kama, but not Ginatino, chrono one sheho. Who wants a babano, no more quiet calabule, not adjenia na flopo, intimum de so much badia. My piece of advice to them say, always taking advice from the central government from Accra needs to be abolished immediately. And the sad way for me, Senkami Ghana, and I'm coming to Ghana this year, and Kabia Bekumi, and Kasasa decentralization policy, this government Abano, can be the best so many. Because, say, you know, be a man for it. And the current president, you know, some of the Kakachamo say, Kunyano wa winning there, or fire can see it to me the moja crowd winning, but he has to be very cautious. So me and sir president we are and can message Sanyama Bebre because I'm not coming back. Nanka Ghana will just a very good legacy. But the way you see a crowd war point woman say he's fighting for failure. And the people you I do my tatra positions because I say Papa no want to me de papa bi amfa I'm telling you honestly. And me need time I can make a whole lot of comments about Saudi Arabian. And you see an young in a context, a broader context say you decentralize policies. Na electricity a bar a buyer what in cry any home bibiaka. So you to me and Sadia and answer so what they call private entities. Now, over to me and Maya say government and command private entities no instructions are. Over to me free me was coming to me call. Let me give you a practical example. Me call western part of Georgia. Now me call no almost see plant bo a Georgia power nesis plant no. It's closer to Savannah. So we call her plant now. Electricity was a certain area in southern part, you know, and no, near Georgia, governor, sort of no command electricity instructions. But Ghana, would help my minister in your one call. Or course, see how will be about no for no ban calabule because they are private people. Let's clear the government out of this system. The government will give instructions. Say, me see me what me electricity plant or let me say government will instructions say me fa, and there will be always power supply. But the Ghana Ghana see and say bibia aban, bibia Accra, bibia minister, it will never help. Inti me mum de when ye kasa ho kra na omu no omaye omu kalabula wie wadi we yaba no wayi obi a obeye niema ni nyina nti ayese kwadwo kono onko wati nkwantia haya nti se ye se ye peniye dia yama government in some free ya they call private entities yama private obi betimi okase obi mayesi obi betimi free America ha akosi plant our Volta region onwa na afa ni nipa enti se oba na wontia electricity wakoye connections what the ube call court okay be say ye ko ni sisi ade kwadwo me say sisi bi daddy ke ko enso ti ko tia ha ya me da se
echa asafaka o say daddy ke ko susu ujina kwante ha ya jesafaka de wakasa obeko Canada misremu amuti wakasa obeko kotena Canada se JDM ba wedie enye odaso ewa ha enti Francis ne omo mwake nyina misremu a mombo modia
na main clan so that me catch you say o mampanyini no nyamemra odi ma tio ni yo de wo kana besa ba so
oh debi emre no ntina misremu
me nyamemra odi ma papa no asa
Joe.
But Obama be this will be di. Na say yeah, meko. Na say oba when you how many months? When you how many weeks? When you how many days? Say akra no yi gold kra he obi adi na kwatena akora keto bi adi na kwatena ho. We say me nkunim.
Esafaka no say men twitwan so a woni me be kontakwa wa hasisi a Joe etiefo na frefo dedicate 4 Stars Radio TV Atlanta Georgia you both say with the information to keep you safe and productive in every society you belong, either you be at the job site, in any group, whatever, you have the information about, then you make a real good decision. And no ana you didn't debia yako but intino ya babe so na yako LGBT no yen chekra.
There should be a private sector participation. What we intend to do is form a 7-member committee chaired by technical aspects, legal aspects, financial aspects, and some industry players, and even somebody from the consumer side. What we want them to do is to get us a framework, looking at best practices. Would the concession approach work or a full privatization work? We will stay off as politicians, let them get the framework in a more transparent, open, frank manner. Then when we get a buy-in of Ghanaians, then we can set the standards using an RFQ, an RFP, and then a competitive tender process. Let me make this clear. We are not going to do sole sourcing when it comes to the ECG private sector participation. Competitive tender process with some element of private sector participation using local content, and then we set the KPIs so we make progress. And so we are clear in our minds what we intend to do. The main problem with ECG is not just the collection, but even how they spend or administer what they collect. They collect on average about 1.3 billion cedis every month. Only 850 million or 900 million goes into the cash waterfall mechanism. So what it means is that almost 400 million does not find its way into the cash waterfall mechanism because they've signed all kinds of contracts. Yesterday at the meeting, it came to light that they have 2,500 containers sitting at the ports. Contracts worth 9 billion has been signed. And because the containers are sitting at the ports, demurrage alone is 1.2 billion. So beyond the collection, we also have to drill down on efficiency and ensure that they stick to the cash waterfall mechanism. Currently, we have a deficit of about 40 to 60 mm of gas. If we take the gas from ENI, gas from Jubilee 10, and then gas from N-gas, and you put all together, you still have a deficit. And so you have to be depending on some level of light crude oil, some level of heavy fuel oil, and some level of distillate fuel oil. Our immediate objective will be to bridge that gap. We've met Jubilee partners, we've spoken to the partners and the operators, Talo, we've also spoken to Ghana Gas. They are currently doing 100 mm scalp. We are confident that if they do some reconditioning, they can increase it to about 35 more. And that will give us a lot of buffer.
Abuja napone kokote ninkana watchechre mu senia yedikana yakano ye sikasem and afisum si am hwene here enipa beda dum som ye wumbu painting ye mpese betoso mienu ntino ye nyina no bia de na dwenkyere de ba afi ye beko nia etoso mienu LGBTQ ho ensensem em say sadie we no ebeye campaign message kese pa na yo omampania ya pa no sisia no odika ka ho asem na yebetie and afiso no ne suggestion or the about President John Mahama has indicated the preference for promoting family values through education rather than prioritizing the legislation. Now, legislation where you know, and I bet you won't have a year abandoned the nature of science na campaign so any probably a campaign. Into CCI Abbey, Mampini, Wosui, as some full front worker, and I say, as some dada noir. Young go to ye. Yeah, you try.
Ebisa ni bebre voice ne wayent me fani ni number. But question ba kwa na amankrofo kasa bebre ebisa ne say so best sign ye vote man no na say oba power. Best sign anti LGBTQ bill na. Or see depending on the ewo mu. CJ. Bonne ma na inti.
Okay, all right. Inti no.
Ghana is among the few African countries to pass draconian anti-LGBT legislation widely condemned by human rights groups. Will you sign it into law if it is brought before you?
It's not an anti-LGBT, it is a family values bill. It was approved unanimously by our parliament. You see, it's against our culture, African culture. It's against our religious faith, Muslim and Christian and all that. But I think that we must look at the bill, and the president must indicate what he finds wrong with that bill and send the bill back to parliament. Or alternatively, he must send it to the Council of State and get the Council of State's advice.
Is that what you would have done?
That's what I would have done.
And will you ever sign an anti-LGBT bill?
It depends on what is in the bill.
CJ, who said before, no, na presidential candidates in that say, omoba sign. What's changing?
No, so now, how? What does he mean by it depends on what is in the bill? So when Pedina Mahama can say it depends on what is in the bill. What exactly does it mean?
Because no, see your best sign.
Yeah. In Japan, I'm afraid yeah. Waka say kwa Assemblies of God o ye Kristo ni some tia ne ade nyina nti on de nya de obeso soso ne ne kek okosia asofo kofrodua o de sansem yi tuda. So what has changed? As you say obeso hunu de wo be no man san obesan ya.
Na
SSL SSL
and what yesterday. O man pedida
yakokuti memfanse ensentrofo bishia omkokushia omampenia otisu sisia asema okan na fe yemhwe woni asafo sukokoshia na nsen na wochi etwem ye mu no so ne awode tudwa e wo se hu ne e wo bill numti yenkotie ne somra.
Civilian president. The first time the transition from one party to another took place, I had been Minister of Communications at the time, and I know what happened. So it looks like it's become a tradition that is continuing to, happen, and so we need to see how we can arrest the situation. So we'll take note of that, and I think that together we can find a solution to it. I've appealed several times to people to, act differently and not do the same things that happened before, because the people of Ghana repose a certain confidence in us that we'll do things differently. And so we mustn't say because these people did it at this time, we also are going to do the same thing. And so the invading of government offices, going to take over government offices and things must stop. Ministers are being appointed. Once they take office, all this is going to unfold in an orderly manner. And so I once again reiterate my call to all the people who are doing that to stop. With regards to the proper human sexuality, and it's quite a long name, proper family values bill. If you remember, there was a court case that injected the speaker from forwarding it to the president, and also restrained the president from receiving the bill. Eventually that case was disposed of in December, I think on the 18th or so. Yeah, so it meant that the injunction had been cleared. But as far as I know, the bill did not get to the president for assent. And so the convention is that all bills that are not assented to before the expiration of the life of Parliament expire. And so that bill effectively is dead, it has expired. I don't know what the promoters of the bill intend to do, but I do think that we should have a conversation on it again so that all of us, if we decide to move that bill forward, move it forward with a consensus. And probably it shouldn't be a private member's bill, it probably should be a government bill with governments behind it after consultation with all the stakeholders to see how we're able to move this forward. But it leads us back to the discussion we had that if we're teaching our values in school, we won't need to pass a bill to enforce our family values. And that's why I think more than even the family values bill is us agreeing on a curriculum that inculcates these values into our children as they are growing up, so that we don't need to legislate it. And so we'll see how all this goes. And so I'm looking forward to this review conference so that we can come to some consensus on some of these issues. But I wish to thank you very much.
Yakokutie omampani wosu nanu di sem ewo ne odika kae ene ne okan sisi anti Francis yentio wati omampani asemo a waka efan LGBTQ ho a yakam asema ka Ghana fo nyina dodo no a nti no, what is your reaction for such suggestion and afis, does the parliament have to relook into the bill, and I said the bill is just ready for it to go? Mintio France.
All right, that came in that seat. My history kakra. In 1861, when the British was ruling Ghana, they passed a bill in 1861 called the Offences Against the Person Act, criminalizing homosexuality. In 1861, the Offences Against the Person Act, criminalizing homosexuality. And in 1960, even before 1992, in 1960, the Ghanaian Criminal Code also criminalizes the unnatural carnal knowledge. Unnatural carnal knowledge, say, apart from say Bermane or Baba Bibia Ekahu Biano, unnatural, Nyakopan Shenesa. And in our 1992 Constitution, homosexuality is a crime, punishable by law. I don't know, you know who dispute biya, yenina obiya ajitum. Now, let me indicate my stance on homosexuality. This is my personal stance. It has nothing to do with anybody. I'm a Christian, and because I follow the footsteps of Christ, obiya oye LGBT nipa biano, mepe nipa kona sem, but adia oye no mempe. And that is the position that our Lord Jesus Christ took when he was on earth. It is adia nipa ko ye no and the yempe, but nipa ko die, I will never discriminate against anybody because he's a homosexual. That never. I will never do that. I comment in a memory duane or baby another, because as a Christian that is my responsibility. Nemom ni subana woman die is against my religion and I will never tolerate it. Now you see, Meyadi President Mahama kakra. You ask me why? Unim say anwa ye de bobusiano. And yes, I don't need it. You see, President Mahama was so forceful, and I appreciate and admire his courage. Say, as a Ghanaian society, obiachi homosexuality. Like we don't lack the art. Nkrembo for, Abososun for, a Christian for, everybody. Not when you be a film, until he doesn't like that. I feel by a Bermua. We say, I didn't no. The way to deal with this is not through legislation. Nanka yemfa school double standard no ya dosun. Double standard no ya dosun. Into my point is this: according to the legal people, almost say manoko na say yantumi ansa manama ye law na say the parliament way the new parliament will have to reconsider a new law. It means that the law is going to go back to parliament for them to reconsider it. Now, to me, I have counted 15 different punishable clauses in the new law, the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. 15 punishable. It be a 2 months. It be a 6 to 10 years. It be a 3 years. To me, I know shit. Until we have to look at it again. We have to look at it again. They need love, they need compassion. Be here psychiatric help, be here training, be here medical help. You see, let's put all those things in the law. Let's make it very humanly possible. But say, we are driver now kofa gay near gay ni koje now so koje die masa is something else. It's something else. Intimuma yes President Mahama yes no. It's only Mampenyi. We are all looking up to him. On show leadership in this LGBT issue no. On show leader omyehun baby ojina. Because yen to me can say afi ye kotetem kola about morality in the cinema that will not take care of LGBT debi no ye ababua but enyi sa phoning fi ho ye no better sa compensate bewu and say you as be say into you have to find a way of dealing with it into your channel or my clear direction emye hu baby ogina na o man so intanachi me that's it.
Show Francis and I attending Kano LGBT4 now union for we are all family. Yeah, one big family to me enjoy one chini obi ba on some punishment in it has to go back to parliament and revisit yo. Me come my mama where me go to my mama.
Papa
LGBTQ bill. What is saying? Reaction to saying and Sanko Parliament biome for the bill and into
ye Christopher. Me ejuma me next desk ono ye bi o confiding me o pade che me Christmas me so me ko me tu kwana me ko Ghana me pade ebre no onye me she da o do me crossing Christopher mpu a minimum. Etino the part say oye bia me sa na me beto no oye bia no na just say me puno. But again say Yenia Francis can be no Osaka or Sandane no say he's against what President Mama is doing because anya no I dey Bob say anya sa na dikia. O ka say Mama ka say yes start to be wo school a nkwada bi a eba no yeah the session of kind no we grew up with some of them na ye nim omukra no mu nim obisa no ultimate punish no ohia counseling ohia nyama bebiri a betimi aboa no obi wo ha sabi no ekonfo eso odi no kwa sorry one day po a nyame timi kana kuma ma ne timi tsan na sabi o ma pemi kan ya mpa say ono oba onfo aso na I don't think say obedan the chikokoko but bill no enya bill oba ya ye diko to ni na wasan sign na Francis na kan no nyama ni bi wo mu punishment no edin no esiso shobu bio obeshobu so anya ono nko a oni nkofo na bu ma no he has to go through that process no ebedu ni nche a one sign and the jata clap no war parliament ko oni be dele because jata si on play akupado time na and this time so senior play na yin na so aka a Christian castle baby okopo boy yin na be come against him because it's not acceptable but obi wo ha na circumstances na amana basa obi also they are abusing the system obi also come na there obi na oya na do baby anu asan obi ane ne there ye ntimi wu aten ya say you find yourself in that situation na there mobile crap so obi na ya wo ne sa oye bibia entesa obeso otu ne sakrapo na utimi say ebi wom etino eno sa no na mobo yie na Ghana no ade ba ko me mehu say saade no to enye maye because as we are resetting the country no naka nkofo bebre ni aduma eno kura be bo nkofo mo yi yomani efri ni amabisu because hygienically no stay the bamwa nkofo be wu Ghana because ukoshe from Accra boys here gugu hoy na dia na omo yi jesu egu omoto afi omoto omode na Ghana no na se ade we ya nso anu a ye nkofo be yare obi wo ha oye wi a oni be ba ni da na stand oba akoda ebe breaki a very big pandemic. One say let me to know Africa yendu sa yenye civilized sa America ha no mo ye bebre no mo ye very neat omo di omo ni papa omo ye better crap posting mo obi osebi oba bi ko tenya na wari ase. They are very, very neat. But Ghana voice no omo nim sa na se o hwe niam ni bi omo yi ni party so omo yi they were omo 50 fitro omo to na omo di na time keke omo ni ye the fact so you be sometimes you don't have to pronounce it for everybody to know. People have no or you're very, very about it. Some as say you see omo mpani a ye fa na ne wa he so ono so ba ono so ompani on phantom you know that papa ya make say me ni ye duma kra oni me di hu komo say e ba ni say papa ba no de ade tu sisi ana we pra because the partner oni na ware no e so mu divorce so ultimately claim ni benefits ni bia e so no so I worried e ti ebitu wa ha omo ye papa from waka say oba cancel sa niam no e ti ye mom pa bo na your leaders no nyansa na yesre mo say nyankopon mo Solomon nyansa ni bi ne bambo na omutimi nkwakra ye sa akosita ma nyankopon be frɛ na asapa ka de okan ye power radio so bebre wo de ye kama ma asema nsi so body dimpo your first topic obi aka very, very nice wambo mama di ya o se wo di ba ma say eso ka say ye fa na ubetu akọ Canada sisi you are denying it eti no me nim baby ayi wo di apart wo na America ha din na mo mama din bye
Mami Amada, Yatia can Muti that came for Stars Radio TV, Lana Georgia, you would say, na Ghana ho asudi edayeso enti na yajemre na yeka ho asam we no enye adebia eye wanwasa na emom etwase yeka yekuru enye amanyofo dia eye nyina ye dia na yeka ho asam LGBTQ+ and once na yake into no minko wafaya nkutie wafaya what is your initial reaction after so now should we relook the bill wafaya you
yo daddy thank you very much daddy LGBTQ asemi de won say aka ho asema ena asamba bi but utie daddy utie asema na president Mahama ekana President Mahama on cast one sign deal new. Okay, there are other bills that say consider pressing one issues near maybe or looking at Nena for. Then one bill nobody will go into it. You go into the bill and know what to do. Into on cast one sign. But as I speak right now, that is so you say your pressing issues. Say Biancola, Echo Yebia School Ancola. I go school Almunia Bianini. And so offer solution and looking for solution immediately. The first day at work, electricity in Kayebe called Dumusomu for almost 2 months. But Mahama has to conjure money to make sure that young Dumusomu affects the Dumso. So it's the Asema work and there are pressing issues at that table so immediately for him to deal with. And be the Mabuba Mano. And Kolani BBA school dedicate. I'm going to say news that school headmasters, this time, the autocratic government is gone. And their headmasters now able to come out to tell parents, say, "Mumano ba mumpe biani mumpe biani go muchobo muno mumbamre school because I biani I want enough for us to feed them." Before no one was much nyakata. Uko kasa ase ma kuko do be transfer. Ada ebe you and biani be transfer akos dabugu katali. Who are cried, who because that's good at all. But this time, he say, I was a man, and we are doing in Copona Puotino. Headmasters are bold enough to come out and tell us, Omunia Biane, our would be feeding Colano. And you buy a best school. Pegarini, Dokununi, and Yama Biguni troubles, non Pamrani and Pampidium. So, and these are pressing issues. Look at the way Mahama acquire Wapa or the solve school fee senior high school where the shortage throughout the length and breadth of the country, which is not easy. So there are a lot of things that this government he has to look at those ones and make sure to keep the country running. And it doesn't mean say he's not going to sign. Let him tackle the immediate issues. Issues are pressing issues. Look at the electricity dedicated. The Mahama sorry and Dinama you will do some more. Mahama down ye epia bemo jamu fuelebe omube tina using for 6 good months. Akufo-Addo just 2 hours. Can you imagine this? 2 hours. And Akufo-Addo Timija Mahama fuelebe using for only 2 to 3 hours for the whole country. Mahama almost 6 good months. Who make me able to use for the country for 6 good months. Akufo-Addo 3 hours. You can imagine. And Mahama day one has to start working, looking for $90 million to go and get whatever the crude whatsoever to come, so that we can power our plant for us to get electricity. I just think we will do some tonight. I can say, oh, my son, I can't tell you. Some buy and do so now, but you know, Brother Mahama being a visionary leader, being a leader, the nation builder, was able to truncate trap no mas kuma to amani ni na we year to and am light that is in na so just and you go do so school fee dey asema make dedicate enya asem kitu o nkola ni nya duane o mu baby Mahama konjo aduane bi e dia begu port ya yesi munyi ni nyina mu distribute ko social media na we yes trucks no say ye carry trucks no dey for secondary schools na these are things that are very pressing. He has to look at it and solve it before any other thing will come onto his table. On once, or he's not going to look at LGBT. That is not what Mahama is saying. But here the country is as I'm speaking right now, stagnating our country. Immediately we kick this government. The government, I'm making sure the country it shouldn't run. Nothing was running. Because all my years now social media ya tuta cargo truck akaka me yede omodi konko de boa ene yakwa ko MPP po we nyina akronko nko a nwati ya wiya ya sika nyina to the sense fuel fry yede Akufo-Addo di beja Mahama no 3 hours fuel fe no di aja have you ever seen this obi a onko amuto ye incompetent oja 6 months fuel for the country to use. Would there 3 hours? Dedicate. If you are a president and you come into power and you are confronted with issues like this, can you believe? But President Mahama being so a nation builder and also what do we call it? Name him. He has been able to carry all these things and keeping the country running. So what they are saying, but in Myanmar, there are pressing issues that one share and or mine already in the Mabubo because of President Mahama, children will be headmasters will be near feeding Korano. Electricity soon can be dealt to move 6 months while solve that problem. And I will solve a lot of problems. The constitutional revision of the revision of the constitution or the good enough time what they say our study committee or mobile city to the review of the constitution. That is how government the government works. There are certain things you see in all the time that you that is what we call needs and wants.
All right.
You will have your needs and wants. And see, he's tackling our needs before you go to the wants.
Okay, that's fine.
Into one council wants of LGBT one sign. You review, go through it, and then you sign the bill.
All right, Joe. What for you say? What be should be mo or so should be what tunable and your money also. Na what buy so and chay be or so what tunable na what to and your kama. Na HSA your reset or mano is on a reset mode. Timinko HSA papa.
Yeah, come me dance. Sesiano asema me beka bia no eye madwene na me de me time ni bi ma ofaya Nana Akufo-Addo wadina kunya no woko. Leave that man alone and let him be emphatic to you, Ofayao. Nia omampanyini a okoye no waye no wone wo mampanyini a obedi ade a wasan bedie no muntimi nye bida. I'm telling you emphatically because he say yes no kram 4 years ye dey mamu no. Mudi 2 years e beye nsemuhunu. Enti de na Akufo-Addo school kra na oyema chese de ntia me yi wano no oni representation bia wo ha obi be defend no what the man has done for Ghana no se mo ankaye nsu a mo be kai na mo sire.
I didn't see nobody in some Hunusa.
Yeah, because the man penny no yeah, you know. Moses, and not in one penny that I was saying, ban say when you fought and no one son over your campaign. And the Mumma no Namunya. That is challenge I'll put it before you. Jacks are unnecessary comments about Swanawoyano. Namuma yet mistaken as a man, yeah, where you're 100% I care for Mumesiso. And now woman penny that down so what's happening on penny say when in problem. Shut up. We are no cable fair. Namunya.
Oh, Debbie. I mean, shut up, dear. I
have to tell him, man, we need representation. Most of my young so leave that man alone. That is what I want to tell him. Stop the propaganda. Namumu man
No.
Okay, come on, I call the Dikan.
Yeah, what's the MPP at Ariano? Francis 4 year MPP no pon yesi.
Yeah. Mema just a focal trust. Would it trust some woman?
I just work at me, man. What's it say? Make me at the who me jam time cram in India. A CNE. Share. Munya, Namunya share. That is the challenge to you. Okay, the Dikan Cobra. Sir, LGBTQ, whatever, me crani can you me din. Me pesa me kama ye nyina ye ti ase se. Man now what this sir law we need whatever what they call parliament where you sickler. Me de minimum pakro. Where yare? Because me be this 60 years you. Tama na me ko school no. Na sa enima we nyina na wo ho. Hwe. Ye me pese na me bo me nua na okasa no the friend said papa na no ba so no. Don't care
Francis.
Master Francis, me bo na ba so. Sa omo mo ye sa de no. Wo mo Afrigana o. Enna yentimi ento wo mo nkunu enti sa wo fi se wo mpa. Shut up, muawano. Yen ye ho no na ye school nyina na sa de we wo ho but yanka ho asem adentina na nsan kwana magiagina mu sa let it go the way it is me asafaka nka sa se me nkabida because sa gay and lesbian whatever you call it ye wo ye nananu besi samre nyina na wo ho na obi no ye ni mfani mu ye ma me hwe jomo sam wo pese ye hu so na ye kristoni ene asofofo krabu ho a wo mu hyira sa aware no so na ma men kama monti ase ne babu aka bia baba betwam o what biblical concept it has to happen and me am it yes me who say yes we ye gay we ye lesbian we ye say me hu omo a da bia me bonya me mpa ye ma wo say awurade din mu no bible no de bible no kan na abedadi ba no krese saa ne ewiase be kwa wie ya ye be hu saa de we enti nyame hu ombo me am no ka say me ko ba bi me hu ga bi me fa no ko adwumam ama ye fa no because oya me mobo kire say such a beautiful girl na bema be fa wo no was kodi power pa no dia be hwe no na so no uyonko e ba da beda me vini no kwa adwum sisi e oya adwuma at times me ko sa place na me ko huna me catch them nyankopɔ say awurade humami mobo every day me huna me de ninu yesu moja de sie no me de onyankopɔ fa sepem twa abaya no hia na me de nyame ataban kata no so say awurade mie nani e ya dia e wo se eba na betwam enti se wo bia nya na the biblical concept no na wo hene enti mumia nya careful a Christopher musimo humumpa fine it's left to you but obi is part of the citizenry said Master Francis Kano he has got every right he or she has got every right. So take a personal decision. Mina me se me di be ma to fa ho ban. Mina me yo ba na me se me oba de nsa wo ma se fa ho ban. Mama yenya sa nsem hu we akidie. Na yemu o man no papa. Yemfa o man papa. Yemfa na hwe countries wo kra won ti sa asem we. Hadn't the Ghana for nkwa no maso mu. You don't have anything to do. Just enyema hunu. Omo ye part of the citizenry. And this me to sisi na china me si bema e me fa me to a wo ti parliament e fa ho ban. Me yare e fa ho ban. Wo ba na so wo kwa abonten a tete wo ba yie wo kwa obi amfa ne bema nkoda. Because biblically e was say de we esi wiase e me hu nyame animu nyam. And this mo de omo tu tankru amu.
Okay.
Mama obi kasa metie o. Somebody will move to Tankuru no. Let's find solutions, sir. Ye betimi fa kwa bi so anya ntiti ye bi kra wo ha ye titi wo mo say ade we anya. Look at some of the punishment. It's too primitive. Because obi fi so no e Christo ni me mpenti me de co parliament. Are you sick? They are part of even your taxes say you tua wo mo tua bi. Said ye emrewafo yare yetimi do mu koku ba bi so mu ye mayifo but e was ye do mu koto ba bi ne yetete wo mu no. These people need to be cancelled. Na ye catch mu part of the citizenry. Na ye can't be bitch from say sade na mo yare nye but we just obi akoya ne ya kire ne yakobo ntuo. Sickless. MP sickless. Kwabama minya kwa
sure. May I say it just for no MPs in they are all sickless na Walker at Wasso until Sisian, ne crack, Mitcham Habisia.
The whole booger is the parliament. Well, it's the Robert Cowboy, so he's not.
Mamuti nyina wo yasafa na nyina yekoso na yedamase 4 Stars Radio TV Atlanta Georgia USA ewo abrochi hayi yedwene oman Ghana ho esanse ekru no mo fe ofa yakwaba mamia makwaba Francis akwaba Joseph gina yakwaba ekru ntina ye ka ho asem a wo se nyabotre na ye ka na amanyukuo no anasa amanyo semno so no etumi efa bi na wode nante no osisi kro no edemai enti Francis ne kra bill no eyedan ya wo be sign e wo sign so a e wo nsusu aso anasa won sign entite wo for 4 years na for no ba abeto them say wo kan bibisa enti no bon tofa edemai sisi a obi ama 2 minutes na yanko France.
All right, let me say, na mabojo fo nyanzo mi chi omo me da wasen so. Me masam ye ba kope. President Mahama your Christian or Assemblies of God. Inti, I expect say he will do the right thing. Now, mpese mbisa President Mahama say, hina na kuma wo. Because a bill way, whatever form, ebesa abane chembie no. Omi ehu so besa na so on sign. Inti sesi an on declare so okay. Se be ne koba na se mihwe na se niema wo ya mbesa na men sign. Na ni susu aso ne se nse Ghana for no bibia ba gidi. Ye kwasa bi wori obi nam bema bi nam kwa na koche no to pamba ka se gay. On be fa ho aye gidi kwa okrom. Inti ese ye very careful. Nko for rights. Very important. The fact say obi yege me position no so be yege woni fie on na busia for sure mu dam yo mu ge dia is your business. I mean me dey if me ho bay but say ye na abontia say you very careful ye nantie mu ni e bibia is very careful eno na obi catch me say the word integrity no the simplest meaning is say doing the right thing when nobody is watching. Into obiani hono you doing the right thing, that means you have integrity into yourself Mahama, Omwaye, Ninya direction on this gay issue. And him say he's going to do the right thing. And the Ghana for so you say you're very careful. The first say you sign a gay loan to now say unanam na will be say nenu for check a cape or you gay Debbie. Yes, I'm very careful. Me that's
sure. Francis Nidia Kitu Ebina or the Atato Minko Mamma Mahoya. Mamma. Obesa was saying I was so so.
That is a for Campus. Now, sometimes, you know, I do a now, Doctor Naya Sadio, Sitiano, what pick is Sadiano, and you're fine. Anyway, a photo, Adiano, you see a piece of flour. Yes, even microphone, but we have to be honest with ourselves. And yet. You know, we are both persons and couple President Mahama now over council or on signing a deal with not as some fun as a monko. Now then there's a Pakana or Case or no obey we have one see you don't do that. We don't go down or down, no unia by say over Ghana in idea. Everyone say women person of Ghana. To say my gay or say even though we love them as human beings, you know, they are public different. And yet, so grandma is as the Lumian by a crew so. To be born and coupon pie say, I deal with Uncle Baby out to not Mamma sign out some one and some more.
Sure, Mammy, that's it, and also when children would yaba. Make up or fire.
Daddy pay.
I'm a penny of a sign. Was sign so I dance so I saw and a war on mine so. Ushimwa.
Oh, okay. Yo, thank you very much. Like that case in American or Obesa, but he's looking at other issues answer. There are pressing issues it's one chance of what country never come to a standstill. Issues live in the Mabo Batron. There are a lot of them. It is trying to address it. Already told him there is resetting the country. Country it is resetting it. It is taking issues. More pressing. He's looking at them one by one. Then later you come to that and go into it and review it. So whatever is in it, and you go into it. Review with other people and then you sign it. As for signing, I know you sign. But and yeah, no, the immediate thing for now. Because as I speak, and Yama table so I just say immediate attention need to be tackled immediately. I say your needs and wants. Upe car, upe biania, upe car near the okay biania obedine. The and son was a obedient cat or car, wato. It is an issue now. It is addressing the common ones now. Immediate need to be tackled. No? Then later you look at that. But on about the two situation, I say you have to start working even a day. Yes, my university better than your booty. And now look at Operation OR. And look at what we call it, a constitutional review. Here immediately was setting committee and other staff, school feeding, and collecting they were packed when we saw the Bianiaba, and 90 million on my way, go for a common Jacapre. On all the stabilization fund, not about $300 million them, thinking fund, $300 million them, name them. Exim Bank near the next Kabum. And then make me say, Oba Bemu. Tanya Maya Ojay, and the city Kobo, $1 credit. All the establishing now is empty coffers, zero. Oma Dinina Sadi, Coco,
okay.
You can imagine if he is entering government without money.
All right.
So, but look at how he's able to arrange for 90 million to let us get electricity.
Okay.
All right. Resetting Ghana.
Okay.
So far, so good. And so far, so very, very good.
Okay.
In a few days, Waba Bemu. And yet, or boy, Juma Ghana. I mean, you say, as I'm going to say, the American educate. or better time, but
Okay.
you have to look at more pressing issues first. Then
Okay.
later we'll review it, and then you append the signature to it and make it to a law. Thank you.
Resetting Ghana so far, so very, very good. Wafaya, no. Prophet 001. Just of a car. We cry, my one, I'll be cry.
And yet, maybe cancel more.
I won't shed any, wouldn't and baby, sir. I would make us a baby until
I don't know. Would you hear and this?
Can you make a beer? My brother.
Okay, Tiasma Mecano. Omampanyini dada wasabe omampanyini me se me koto abani bia enka onu mento ma no
obianim se wonto no
but Ghana fo akasa me ne hwan me fo no so yo omampanyini. I will give him the respect as omampanyini. Now ono ansa no obeye campaign ni campaign mu ansa no obeye campaign what kind so what you know anka bom yete say amanyo sem de edurumra bia na wadi tro kakra na ono ananum asem o enyame na meka kohye nanum o se me bo amonka enti no ebia woye ne se obeye ayi opa akona na die enti na bia woye ayi bet mi twa so no se papa no so osisi a woye bemma mua a minim so bemma mua 20 gram me mano and nenkosi 6 months opa one sign sab you know osisi a say a bill enye be ye law me true challenge amano ma me amako fa koma no ofa ya mo fa koma papa no se me say we bemma president ya wodini ho so na would CP 100% on sign law no na ye hwede na mamu no besi me da se
echia asafaka no say omampani data eye bemma one sign law no ebusia for yedo ye ho a ye ndie ho chini woni mo bisu so anopa won sekane ahwe ne mu anajo obakofo enchiri damfo enunti na ye na bebi hye ye na ye wa brochiri bu fi se anka ye ni ye bibidi ye wo ye bibidi so kakra ye betumi de twitwa ye ho ne de ye wo bi so ehia se e wo se ye beka oman Ghana ho asem yaka ne imprembebre enunti ena aban bi ko na ebiso aba nti ye hwe no mu wo ka se okonfo se ko na wo ba yare ya fine na wo ne beko nti no omani eye dia yenka asempapa emfanfa omani ho no omani engineer emfa mene wo se ye hwa de bia ye ye ho na ye kasa etumi hu se ye de ye ngi ye nikura ewo kroma esan se bibie ni a na ye hwe ye busuafo ewo fie na ye no kore pa se yama omani engineer ejuma ama se ECG for ye privatization no na ya fefe bi no mu na ejuma ma de bia no ye botom na ehwan intini anwen papa emfama oman no na oman enya baby pa engineer na yeso ye ho entoye 4 stars of radio TV Atlanta Georgia USA dedicate I will say before make a profit eating option and support will be bomodiana fabadan a year memfansen kratona yeto epitin fabra ye will be otwemfoni obi a wobonyo obi so wodi chiamene ade nyina until we have one package for obia nti me fa konya we so na mada obi bia se me panelists mamiama and o to say mamiama ni e wo fom kakra na so oba kukurim akwadwuma ene kwesiada okwadwuma so mo Ghana fo no nti no na de bia no yekọ ebasa e wo se ye boamo mo ye busia yentumi enyam ho sa so ntimi da mamiama ase wo fa ya Francis Echia asafaka mo amutie titi de benchi nyina no ye de mo asemo nkoso in support the 4 stars of radio TV more like here na wa share ne ekọ Andy Ajeman ewo Ghana bo mo moto enkrato di ba abefu mfidie mi say no mene mamiama say no here would computer baby see ne bu ne ni prepare ne baby afa nti Andy Ajeman Blagoj D Blagoj me I hope and I face no C Akins Maxwell Munina Mote and Crano Edimani Efi Ghana Yamisham Bibi Debiano, the can say, I've for any woman to know your pen quantity any bambo, Nafisuno, Yendi ye, you dear, so free and baby Becobia na yes, so Yakuinim Kakrasa. Until that Emrason, I gotta go. So Debia Metaka. Say, if you want to see somebody who can make a change, just stand in the mirror, look at yourself and say, what can I do for myself, my nuclear family, and then netwaso need to do and just say echo until my obin shall no see ye na on my Tony na in ditch that okay. I am out.
The whole booger is the parliament. Well, this is Robert Bobby, so he's not.